Welcome to Mobile Application Tutorials. My name's Nigel. In part 1 we learnt how to download a project by using Git. In part 2 we learnt how to create a folder to house our image files. In part 3 we did look and feel with relative layouts and views. In part 4 you're about to get your hands dirty. Put on your coding gloves. We're going to be creating the adapter for our RecyclerView. The adapter provides in our case, the images to the views themselves to be used by the gallery. Let's create our adapter. So we're going to have to create another class. We'll create it alongside the activity. So go to New Java class. I'm going to call it ImageViews. Here it is here. Right, the first thing I want to do is create what's called a view holder. A view holder is it's what associates our view with the RecyclerView environment. So we're going to create a public static class here. Call it view holder. So what does our view hold? It holds our images, so it's going to be an image view. So we need to provide a constructor for our view holder. And it's going to take an argument, which is a view. One step here is when we're creating our view holder, we need to extend it from the RecyclerView.ViewHolder. So let's get that in there first. Better. And now we need to call the superclass constructor. Pass the view. That's better. Now we can assign our view with the view that we created from the layout in the previous tutorial. We're going to use this view's context to get that. Find view by ID, r.d. and it's image gallery view. Okay, next step here is making our image view available to the other methods inside the adapter. So I'm going to create a function for that. It needs to return an image view. And return the image view. Okay, that's it for our view holder. Now we need to feed the view holder back into the creation of our adapter itself. So adapter is actually based on the RecyclerView.Adapter. And in here we pass in our view holder. And that's it. Now we need to implement the methods provided to us from the RecyclerView.Adapter. Implement methods, those are the three methods we need to implement. We'll start from the top down, heading in a downwards direction. So first thing is onCreateVewHolder. So we need to actually create the instance of our view holder and then pass it to the recycler view. So first of all, we're going to get a view of our layout. So we need to inflate that layout first. I'll use the parent to get the context here. And inflate it with the layout that we created down here. So it's the gallery's image relative layout. And from here, it wants our parent. We're not going to add it to root, so we can make that false. Okay, so we've got the view that represents our layout. Now we need to return that inside the view holder as part of the view holder. So we're going to return, we're going to create a new view holder and pass it the view. Okay, so now we're providing the view holder of our views back to the recycler view. Let's do the next step. Right, the next step itself is where we actually associate the images in our folder and assign it to a view. So where do our images live? They live in a file that represents the directory. So let's create a file down there to hold that, to reference that file location. It's going to be file, and I'll just call it images file. I'll make that private. Okay, so now that we've got the a file representing all the images, I now got the information of assigning that image to a image view to be used by the recycler view. So first of all, down here I'm going to create a file that represents the image we want to view. And to get hold of that, it's just a simple matter of images file. And we can list all the files inside the directory. That's what that file represents. And I've been given the position here, the position of the file that the recycler view is currently presenting. So I just need to enter that here. So I've now got my image that we want to display on the gallery. Next step is to actually load the bitmap from that file. And again, we use a bitmap factory, decode file. File is going to be the image file and the absolute path of that. Okay, so we've provided the path of the image, and from that we've created a bitmap. The next step now is to put that bitmap into the view, into the image view that's been used by the recycle view. So, and to get our image view, we've got we use the holder that's provided to us. That's the holder, the view holder that we created at the beginning of this class. And from there, we've got the get image view, and from there we can set bitmap and pass image bitmap. That's methods now completed. Now the last method, getItemCount. This is quite straightforward for us. All we need to do is call our images, the file that represents the folder, which is images file. List files, and length will give us the number of files, the number of photos inside that. Okay, we've now implemented the 3 methods we have to implement for the adapter. Now all we need to do is initialize our file folders from the file that we created inside the activity. So we'll create a constructor for our main image adapter class. And we're going to pass in a file which represents the folder file. And assign our images file to the folder file to the images file. Okay, and I'll save that. It's looking okay in code. So just to quickly summarize, what we're attempting to achieve here is creating an adapter, RecyclerView.Adapter, that's going to provide our images in our folder file to the views we're displaying in the gallery. So we had to create an adapter for that. The adapter has a class inside, a static class inside called the ViewHolder, where we actually assign our views to the ViewHolder. After that, we created the methods we had to create in the adapter, onCreateVewHolder, creating that ViewHolder which has got our view. Binding the ViewHolder, that gets called whenever the RecyclerView wants to see another photo in our gallery, for example, scrolling. And the RecyclerView also wants to know how many images are in that file as well. So getItemCount, we're providing that. And we also initialized our file folder from the file and activity that represents, or that is where we created all the images, the file folder to contain all the images. And that's it for part 5. I think it is part 5 of this particular video series. Our gallery is now created. The next step is we can just complete the RecyclerView function calls in the activity and start running our gallery. So if you enjoy my tutorials, subscribe. That's all for this one. Bye for now. So application started, as you can see here, it's blank, there's nothing in there. I actually deleted the image folders before, just so we could recreate them again. So let's take a photo of an iced tea. Accept that. And there we have it, we've got the first image being displayed. I better take a few more just so you believe me that we actually have a gallery here. Let's take another photo of a computer. Sorry, these photos are not going to be very interesting. And let's take one more photo. Take a photo of a man recording himself. Okay, now, you probably saw that. It's pretty slow, there's no optimizations in here, but we now have our working gallery. So that's now operating, and we've achieved the desired effect of having a little gallery running here. Let's just make a slight change here. Let's close this. I'm just going to put a little border around those images just to get that slight gallery effect.